Belichick. So as we've been talking about a lot over the last few days, all 32 teams at this point have reported to training camp. The majority of practices are set to begin today. And yesterday, Bill Belichick, the head coach of the New England Patriots, took to the podium to address, some things in terms of a quarterback competition and competition at every other position. And he says everybody, and that means everyone, quarterbacks on down, has a clean slate heading into training camp. Take a listen.
Every one of us has to go out and establish our level of performance in whatever our role or capacity is. So it's a new season. We've done some things in the spring, but this is really the start of football season in terms of the team building part here in training camp. So we all have a lot of work to do. That includes all of us. So until we go out and do anything, then it's pretty much of a clean slate.
All right. So it is a clean slate as the Patriots head into training camp. To find out exactly what is going on at Patriots camp, let's bring in our ESPN Patriots reporter, Mike Reese. He joins us on the Goodyear hotline right now. Good morning to you, Mike. Thank you for being with us. So, surprised at all? I'm sure nothing at this point surprises you when Bill Belichick says it, but nonetheless, that it is a clean slate heading into this season, especially for the quarterbacks.
Hey, Shay and Jordan, I got my binoculars here. I'm ready for the first day of camp. We lock them in like this, and we just zero in right on those quarterbacks. Not surprised at all in how Bill Belichick addressed the question. I think what he had said back in the spring still applies. Cam is their quarterback, and whether Mac can compete with him and challenge for that job, we'll see when we get there. And that's what Bill Belichick had said in the spring. And I think this is a different message that he's talking about. Yesterday, when he was asked if it's an open competition at quarterback, this is the same thing Bill has said, in my view, almost every other year he's been the coach. The whole idea of training camp is we're not handing any jobs out to anyone. Everyone is competing to establish their position, whether it's a player, a coach, a support staff member, and that's where he comes up with that blank slate. It's literally a blank page. Day one, step one, and let's build it up from there.
Mike, I'm curious, who would they want to be that week one starter? Would you want it to be Cam Newton and he elevates his play and returns to some sort of form of that elite player he once was? Or is the hope that Mac Jones comes out and looks like that first-round guy who can come in and play week one?
Well, it's a good question, and I would say that ultimately they want it to be Mac Jones. That's why they invested the 15th overall pick in him, but they feel like they're well sort of positioned to, if he's not ready, get the best Cam that you can. And I know I sort of hedged on my answer there, but that's really the way they look at it. And Bill Belichick is true to form on this. The clean slate. Whichever quarterback gives the Patriots the best chance to win is going to be the quarterback in week one. And he has been nothing but consistent on that over his 20 years as coach, whether it's quarterback, running back, any position. And so my question, to take it one step further, is will Mac Jones have enough time to prove to Bill Belichick and his staff and his teammates that he can be the guy? And I think that's the bigger picture question here, because they're not going to be in pads until next week. So it's almost 7 days before they get into pads. And Bill Belichick said it yesterday. That's the real part of football. So your training camp schedule is so condensed from what it used to be. And I think that is almost more of an uphill climb for rookies like Mac Jones to prove to his team that, yeah, I can be your guy with just 3 preseason games, not 4. So that to me is sort of the bigger picture question entering camp.
For sure. Talking to Mike Reese right now, ESPN Patriots reporter. Training camp getting underway there in New England. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit here, Mike. So John McClain, who does great work for the Houston Chronicle, said the Patriots did have interest in Deshaun Watson prior to the draft, obviously prior to drafting Mac Jones. What did you hear about the Patriots' connection to Watson and the Houston Texans?
So in general, the Patriots were exploring all options at quarterback, because at that time they hadn't drafted Mac Jones 15th overall out of Alabama. Once they did that, the picture obviously changed. So Patriots are always going to do their due diligence on every player, really at every position, but especially at quarterback, given the importance of that position. And you know the connections between the two organizations. Nick Caserio, the Texans' new general manager, was of course here in New England for 2 decades as Bill Belichick's right-hand man. So it would not surprise me to learn that the Patriots had at least reached out and explored that possibility. But would I have ever thought it would have come to fruition? Even if they didn't draft Mac Jones, I think it would have been a long shot.
Mike, it's safe to say that Bill Belichick's legacy is one that'll linger for a long time after he's gone. But how critical is this season to adding on to that legacy? And is he approaching it with that in the back of his mind?
So I would say the second part, he would only be human if he wasn't at least thinking about that. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame coach, one of the best to ever do it. But think about this, second year post Tom Brady. And the Patriots were 7-9 last year in a COVID year. You almost can put that to the side. But if after all their big free agent spending this year, they put together a similar season to what they had last year, I would just say the context of the discussion surrounding Bill Belichick might shift a little bit to ask the question, okay, he had this great success over 2 decades when Tom Brady was the quarterback, and he really built Tom Brady up from 6th-round pick to what he is today. Tom himself acknowledges that. You can't just push that to the side. But could he do it again without Tom? And I think that's a fair question, a fair part of the discussion, and by no means are we saying it changes his legacy or anything like that, but I would say it shifts the context of the discussion if the Patriots do have a similar season to what they had last year when they were 7-9.
Well, I'm sure week 4, that narrative will only intensify when the Bucs and Tom Brady head to New England to take on the Patriots. Mike Reese, our ESPN Patriots reporter, thanks so much for the time this morning.
Thanks.
See you later. That's Mike Reese on the Goodyear Hotline, brought to you by Goodyear, helping you discover the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Okay, so all the 32 teams are in training camp, Jordan, and so it is time to play a little game of quarterbacks competing. Who are we going to take? Take your pick. Are you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Okay, so since we are coming off the Patriots, why don't we start with the Patriots? And Evan, our producer, I'll let you have the floor so that I can participate in this very fun game as well.
Yeah, let's go. Here we go. All right, we got 5 quarterback battles that are really good this training camp. I don't know that we ever have that many. So Patriots, Cam Newton, Mac Jones, week 1 starter. Take your pick. Jordan, start with you.
I'm going Cam Newton. Cam Newton, because this guy is a Hall of Famer. We know what he can do when he's at his best. This team was a minor league football team last year. They didn't have the pieces around them. And now you're going to give Bill Belichick a chance to say, okay, let's recalibrate. Let me go back to the lab. Let me figure out what we have. And let's go out there with a better plan, a healthier squad. We've spent some money in the offseason. Cam Newton will be propped up a little bit more. And I ain't a believer in Mac Jones. So this one's really easy for me. Give me Cam Newton.
Not a believer in Mac Jones. I mean, he did some great things at Alabama last year, but
those wideouts did some great things at Alabama.
Well, they obviously had someone delivering them the ball. Anyways, I'm going to agree with Jordan, which doesn't always happen on this show, but I'm going to say Cam Newton as well, and this is an easy one for me. I'm always going to take the veteran player throughout the entirety of this game. Spoiler alert. Cam Newton last year, I didn't think had a very fair shot. Didn't have receivers. He got COVID in the middle of the year, showed up late, if you remember, in the season, getting accustomed to a new system, and Josh McDaniels coming off injuries. We hadn't seen him perform at a high level prior to last season because of those injuries. I believe he was, 3 points, a touchdown away from beating the Seattle Seahawks in primetime before everything kind of fell apart for the Patriots. And so this year, you've gone out and you've spent a ton of money in free agents. You're getting guys back from that COVID list that sat out last year. And on top of that, you got another year under your belt. Give me Cam Newton every day of the week to be the week 1 starter for the Patriots.
Kill him.
All right, now that Aaron Rodgers is back in Green Bay, the Denver Broncos truly have a quarterback competition. Drew Lock